It is officially December, and of course it couldn't be December without me having a cold. I had a cold in October and I now have another one, so if I sound nasally then that's why. I've been literally in bed for about a week and I've been so bored, but I'm feeling slightly better today and I don't want to put this off any longer because time's running out for me to film this video. I thought we would talk about some of my favourite Christmas horror films, some that are maybe more underrated. Of course we are quite limited with Christmas horror films. I'm going to start off with one of my favourites, and that is Better Watch Out. Over the past few years I feel like more and more people have got to know this film and I'm so glad about that because it is such a good film. Definitely in my top 3 Christmas horror films. A couple are going out for the evening around Christmas, so they decide to hire 17-year-old Ashley to babysit their 12-year-old son, Luke. The night seems to be going okay until strange things start happening and they realise they may be the target of a home invasion. I won't go into any more details about this one because this is a film you have to go into as blind as possible. Obviously any clips that I play won't give any spoilers, but do avoid actually watching the trailer because that really does give a lot away, and just don't read up anything about this one online. If you decide to watch anything off this list, then let it be this film if you haven't already seen it. It's kind of the film where you start watching it and you expect it to be just like a kind of standard horror film, but when you get really into it, it is just so much more than that. The acting in this one is absolutely incredible, especially from such a young cast. The babysitter and the main boy, Luke, are also in another film together. They play the siblings in the film The Visit, which is actually another really good film to watch in winter. My next recommendation is Christmas Bloody Christmas. That came out in 2022. A robotic Santa from a toy store malfunctions and goes on a relentless killing spree. We follow a record store owner, Tori, as she is pursued by the animatronic killer. This one is kind of interesting because it's something a bit more than the standard Santa killer dressed as Santa. This one is actually a robot rather than a human inside the Santa outfit. This is just kind of a standard slasher with a few little bonuses put in there. It does have some cool kills and a nice short runtime. My one real problem with this film is that the main character Tori is extremely moany, which made it hard to watch at times. But overall this is a pretty decent, straightforward Christmas horror film. The next film I'm going to talk about I had on my watch list for quite a while, but I actually got it recommended to me again recently, and that is The Wolf of Snow Hollow. A small town is being targeted by a mysterious threat and bodies are showing up after each full moon. A police officer is determined to solve the mystery and put a stop to the carnage. So firstly, I just want to say I am so pleased I finally watched this film because it is so good. This is a light-hearted horror with some comedy too. It does have some cheesy moments as well. It's set in a small snowy mountain town, so it is perfect to watch at this time of the year. It's honestly one of the best horror films I've watched in a while, and I'm so annoyed with myself that I put off watching it for so long. It's quite a short film too, being only 84 minutes long. I think this one would be perfect to watch with friends. It does have a kind of mystery element to it as well. Jim Cummings directed The Wolf of Snow Hollow and he also played one of the lead roles too. It also stars Chloe East, which you may recognise as Sister Paxton from the film that's just come out, Heretic. Like I said with Better Watch Out, to get the most out of this film, go in knowing as little as possible. My next recommendation is a horror film from the 2000s called P2. This follows a woman who leaves work late on Christmas Eve, only to discover she is trapped inside the parking lot and her car strangely isn't working either. To top this all off, she realises that she is not alone. A delusional and dangerous security guard has been stalking her and now wants her all to himself on Christmas Day. This really is my kind of comfort film. I love single location horror films, especially in the 2000s. This one is really entertaining from the start. It's not too long and the pacing is done really well to hold your interest throughout the whole film. It's the perfect mix of tense and fun with a bit of gore thrown in there too. This one doesn't have that much character development, but it's the kind of film where you don't need a ton of character development development or backstory for it to be effective. Next, we have a 2022 horror film called The Leech. This film is the perfect example of the consequences of being too nice and letting people take advantage of you. A priest offers a homeless man to stay at his place for the night, but it ends up being a regretful decision as the man asks for more and more. The priest ends up letting him and his girlfriend stay with him over Christmas, but of course, there's always more. This is almost like a lighter and tamer version of Funny Games. It's so stressful and almost cringe-worthy how much you just want these people to leave, but the priest is a total people pleaser and doormat and will just let them get away with anything. This one isn't completely original. Like I said, it is very reminiscent of Funny Games. Also films like Speak No Evil and Who Invited Them. This one does have more of a comedic element to it, and it is of course set at Christmas time. It's not too serious, so it's one you can definitely have a bit of fun with. The next film is from 2019 and it's called I Trapped the Devil. Steve gets a surprise visit from his brother and his brother's wife around Christmas to celebrate together. They soon realise that Steve has someone locked in his basement who he is claiming to be the devil. This was actually a recent watch for me, and I think this is the perfect film to put on in the background whilst you're wrapping presents or writing Christmas cards, because it's not a film that is absolutely jam-packed with things going on all the time. It is kind of a slow burn. There are loads of scenes that have loads of Christmas lights in the background and a Christmas tree, so I definitely think this is one to get you in the festive spirit. I do think it was better than I expected, but it isn't anything groundbreaking, so take what you will with that. So this one isn't underrated at all, but how could I not include Gremlins? Of course, I had to include this one. It is my favourite film, if you couldn't tell, and in my personal opinion, the best Christmas film you can watch. It's one that you can watch with the whole family. The horror elements aren't too extreme. It's not really gory or anything like that. It's more like a fun, spooky film rather than straight up scary horror, and it's really funny, so it would definitely lift your spirits. Billy gets an early Christmas present from his dad, a mogwai called Gizmo. A mogwai is a cute and strange little creature that comes with a set of rules to keep it safe and alive. The 3 rules are to keep it out of sunlight, don't let it get wet, and don't let it eat after midnight. Some of these rules accidentally get broken, causing more mogwais that eventually transform into mischievous and destructive gremlins. Billy must come up with a plan to get rid of the gremlins and to keep Gizmo safe. I watched this film every winter and honestly sometimes throughout the year as well. It's so much fun and brings me so much joy. I have such a nostalgic past with this film. I remember having it on DVD and watching it on my PlayStation 2 when I was really young. I was an only child, so I was a bit strange, but I used to watch it on repeat each scene so I could learn all the words. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I was thinking maybe they would cast me in a 3rd one if they ever brought it out. But I have loved this film honestly my whole life. If you're going to watch the first one, then you may as well watch the second one too for a fun double bill. The second one has a lot more interesting and fun different kinds of gremlins in it, because the gremlins end up in a lab, so we end up with a bat gremlin, a spider gremlin, and even a really intelligent gremlin called Brain, just to name a few. This next one isn't completely underrated, but I thought I would throw it in there anyway, and that is Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. This 80s slasher follows a man who, when he was a child, saw a man dressed as Santa murder his parents. He ended up being raised by nuns as an orphan. Now he is an adult, but is still haunted by his past. The holiday season sends him into a psychological spiral, so now he is on his own killing spree dressed as Santa. This was actually a really controversial film in the 80s because of the advertisement showing a killer in a Santa costume, which is hilarious because nowadays we have, Art the Clown dressed in a Santa costume. Silent Night, Deadly Night quickly got a cult following and became a series of films. I think I've actually only seen the first one though, but if the other ones are good and you've seen them, then let me know. This is a pretty straightforward slasher from the 80s. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into. It's an easy watch to throw on, nothing crazy, but sometimes an 80s slasher is just what you need. So this next film is another recent watch for me, and that is Follow from 2015. I didn't absolutely love this this film, but I did find it quite interesting and entertaining, and I've never heard anyone speak about this film before, so although it's not my favourite, I thought it would be worth mentioning for those who may have seen most of the horror films and are just looking for something else. A man receives an early Christmas present from his girlfriend. He is shocked when he opens it, and then suddenly it's the next day. He wakes up confused and in a situation that makes him question his reality. I think what makes this film so engaging is that you honestly have no clue what's going on alongside the main character, so it's kind of a journey that you go on with him, put pieces together of what is actually happening. I paused it at one moment and thought it would be near the end. I saw that I was only halfway through, and it does have quite a short runtime, so do be aware it does drag a little. This could be due to it being a single location. It is all set in one house, and it also does have quite a simple plot, although it is a bit confusing. I think for me this is probably just a one-time watch, but I am glad that I watched it because it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Some other quick mentions to other great horror films are obviously Krampus, which I feel like is one of the main Christmas horror films alongside the original Black Christmas, which is a great Christmas horror film. We also have one that came out in the last few years called It's a Wonderful Knife, which is perfect if you like films like Happy Death Day, Freaky and that kind of thing. And then of course we have Terrifier 3 that came out this year, which is set at Christmas. If you're looking for something really gory and over the top but also a lot of fun. If you have any other horror film recommendations set at Christmas, then please do let me know because I'm always looking for more to watch. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again soon.